Hi, my name is Keith Nickel, and I'd like to give a big shout out to All Good. They have just joined us as a sunscreen sponsor, and really the timing couldn't be better. Now that it's third week of March, sun is higher in the sky, warmer temperatures, great spring skiing ahead. Remember, just like you put on your jacket and gloves, be sure to put on sunscreen because you want to protect your face. There's a lot of energy bouncing off the snow, so you kind of get a double whammy, the sun coming in and then off the snow as well. I've had in the past a lot of skin cancer problems on my face because I didn't put enough sunscreen on in my early days when I was skiing. So don't make that mistake and put it on regularly. You can look for All Good online or also at your nearest outdoor store. Today what I want to look at is stance in classic skiing, particularly the diagonal stride. I see this to be a big problem area for many beginner, kind of intermediate skiers that I teach in person at our ski school, and also that I see online when people send in videos of themselves in my Fast Track online program. So what I want to do today is just look at stance, what we're talking about, what we mean by stance, and look at some of these problem areas that I see out there. And then what you should be doing or thinking about in terms of correcting that stance. So what I mean by stance is how we're positioned on the snow, on our skis, how we're positioned on our skis. And the purpose of stance is, number one, to give us some power, and number two, to keep us balanced. So any stance that we assume, we want it to kind of accomplish a couple of different things. So one of the most important stances in terms of getting ready to get some power in classic skiing, the diagonal stride, is this stance that I'm in right now. I'm flexed, I got weight over the ball of my foot, flexed ankles, knees, and hips. I'm in this kind of stance. And this is by getting ready to start to push off to diagonal stride. I'm going to show you in a second a couple of still pictures. And one of them is going to be this feet together position, as we call it, just to remind you about that. The other one is when I'm fully extended, when I push down and back, what that looks like in a still picture, just for reference when we look at some of these problem areas that skiers have. So in the first picture, feet together position, you can see that I've got this athletic stance. My shins right here are parallel to my back, and I've drawn some parallel lines there. In the second picture, you can see I've now extended my foot down and back. The foot has come right off the snow, and I'm balancing on my other leg. So this is kind of the final picture looking at this push. So this might be a typical beginner, someone who's just starting out, getting used to sliding on their skis. Usually the characteristics are they're very upright. Notice a very straight back, very little flex in the legs. You don't see them ever go through this athletic stance, this ready position that we talked about earlier. So as skiers become a little more used to gliding, they tend to push their foot forward and back often. Again, these are the self-taught skiers, but look what happens when I push my foot back and leave it on the snow. Not only does the foot not come off the snow, but it puts my weight way back here, so I can't possibly balance on one foot at a time. And some people take this to a real extreme, thinking that the way to get more power and more glide is to actually get the toe vertically like I'm doing now. But notice how this puts my hips way back. I can't possibly balance on one foot when I do this. So let's just recap what we've been looking at here today. We've been looking at stance in the diagonal stride, and noticing that our real beginners just starting out were a bit stiff, keeping the back really straight. Think about this athletic stance as a starting point. Your weight's in the ball of the foot, flex ankles, knees, and hips. This is your starting point, not with a straight back like that. As people get a little bit more advanced and they want a bit more glide, they do a couple of things. They get the foot too far ahead, and they get the foot way too far back. So anytime I push my foot back, my hips go back, and I can't possibly balance on that. So the key to good diagonal stride is really keeping your feet underneath you. Don't get into that elongated stance. Just think about pushing down and back, have that ski come off the snow. So keeping the feet underneath you turns out to be the stance that you want to have when you diagonal stride. Don't get elongated in this kind of position. That's not going to help you improve. you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with skiers you think might benefit. See you on the trail.